Hi everyone, welcome to Web Analytics Lab 1, Python Programming. This lab is prepared by Yiqi Fu, Ricard Lu, and Professor Yilu Zhou. This time we are going to cover 4 labs. They are input, output, and operators in Python, functions of strings, and if statement, and also for loop. So in the folders that we provide you, we have an Anaconda installation, which is used to open up all these IPython notebooks. Also, we have a wholesome guide for you to work through this lab. A lot of time, we also include data file that you can take a look, but also you can open this data file using one of these IPython notebooks. So you can definitely go through the Word document first, and then follow the instruction to do the IPython notebooks. So let's get started. So in the demo 1, we're going to go through the basic input output. So if I have an input and assign into a variable 1, it asks me to please enter your name. My name is Ricardo. And in this line, I'm assigning Ricardo to variable 1. And a variable 1 becomes a string. And in this data type, string can add to other strings to become a wholesome string. So it shows welcome Ricardo to your web analytics class. So type your name and try it out. What else we want to show you other than print is if point right parenthesis. This is a way to let you to write into a file. Usually TXT, sometimes you can write into CSV file using the same function. So we can take a look. You can see that we have one more files into our folder. It automatically generates a file into the same folder your IPython notebooks located in. So you see, welcome Ricardo to your web analytics class. And this is your first Python program. Woohoo! Part two of the lab demo 1 we're going to go through is just 3 types of operators. Arithmetic operators is useful when you do the calculation. So sum, difference, multiplication, division, remainder. It's important to remember that remainder is a percentage sign, and you can do the explanation using the double star sign. And what you can do to do the calculation is you assign, like what we did to the string Ricardo, right? The variable 1 is we assign 7 to A, and we assign another number, maybe 8 over here. So we can get a number, we can get a calculation after we assign to these variables. And we can get a rounded number. And remember that it will round it to the closest one that's smaller than what it is in the int. So you can look at the documentation of the int. So it will round it this way. So let's go to the standard comparison operators. Remember that in the comparison operators, every time you do a comparison, it will give you a Boolean. Means that it will give you a true or false result. So there's a true because 4 is bigger than 2. And double equal sign means comparison, and 2 is not equal to 4. And when you need to, this is greater than or equal to, So of course, right now it's greater 2, so it's a greater or equal to when you put them together. And when you do the exclamation mark and also the equal sign, you will get a not equal to. So definitely this time it's a true, it will return true. And just a more advanced one called expression conjunction operators. I said more advanced because it combined two Boolean output into one. The different ways the AND will return when both is true, right? And all will return either one is true. And in terms of not, will change the result from false to true or from true to false, right? So we already go through the demo 1. And what's in the demo 2 is very essential for this web analytics class called functional strings. So you can see the strings. This is a string. Welcome to your second programming class. Today we're learning more about some string manipulation. All right. So we can print them out. You can see the difference. The /n disappeared and it went to another line. So /n in Python programming in a string means that it inserts a line. You can do, sometimes you can just Google it. It will help, you can find some more interesting ones using /. And what's really important here is index. You can find an index of a character, or you can index out a character using a number. So the way I understand this is you can see the first one is a capitalized W, and it is associated with a 0. The first one is associated with 0, and then the second one with a 1, the third one with a 2, right? And when you want to get the index of the capitalized W, you'll get a 0. So it will return the first one is searched here. And the first character is a capitalized W. So right now the brackets, what's inside the bracket is the index. You can put the index number inside the bracket to get a character from a string. And here you can index out a string. Not only you can index out a string from your string. So you can see this is the OU is, let me see, and it's index 12. So it will be in the 13th over here. I prefer not spend time counting here. So you can definitely looking at the location of the string inside another longer string over here. So from 4 to 6, it's important to remember that from 4 to 6, in terms of index, is the 3 to 5. It's the 3 to 5, right? Because every index is one fewer than what it should be in terms of counting. But in this way, when we use a column to divide that, it never goes through the last one. So it never becomes a 6 when you have a range here. So when you want 3, 4, and 5, you use 3 and 6, and also a column in between. So that's how you get the 4 to 6. What else? When you want all the string to be uppercase, you use the uppercase, the function upper. And when you want them to be all lowercase, We do it like this. It is important to know that every time we apply this kind of function, we never change the original a. So you can see that a is still the same one, unless we put index equals true inside the parentheses. So a lot of time when you have doubts about this, just search the function and it will show you whether it will replace the original ones. Sometimes it would by default. So this one is pretty fun. I prefer a lot of time when I do the replace, I prefer to add two space to make sure it is a word. So when I change and replace the second with the third, you can see that there's only one word changed. And what if the string second is inside the longer words, right? It will be replaced with third and the whole word becomes absurd. So this is my little trick. Just add a space before and after when you know that it's a space and when you know that it won't be a dot afterwards. So you need to make sure that's in the middle of a sentence. That's my little trick. So the length of the string, len, is a good function for you to learn. Also, you can count the number of O's occurred. And a lot of time when we need to divide, we need to break the sentence into little words, a list of words, you can use split. Sometimes you will have all these punctuation mark, and we are going to tell you how to remove them out when we have the techniques in later labs. So let's continue. The if statement. If statement is important one because it will decide whether to pass the statement after the column. So let's get started. It asked me to enter number, so enter number. Don't try strings. It will give you an error. So I give 7. So I can see 7 is not equal to 5. So definitely it won't show anything, right? Because the if statement, if that's not equal to 5, I won't want to print that out. But how to show a number is equal to 5, especially this is a. So a equal to 5. And I see no problem, and it won't print that out. So what if I want to show that? I want to show you about 7. I want to see if it's equal to 7, and if 7 printed out, it is equal to 7. So the thing you need to remember is in an if statement, this is a Boolean. We know that this will return a Boolean answer, right? It will give you a true or false. Like every time it passes true, it will return the statement. It will pass the statement you want. So it is important to make sure that this will return Boolean. This is the result you want when it passed Boolean. So let's try another one. Make it a little bit more complicated. 3, another number 4. All right, when we compare the two numbers, we want to say 3 is not when A greater than B, of course, A is greater. When we run it, nothing happened because right now A is not equal to B. It doesn't apply to our numbers. And we use else if, ELIF. And what do we do is if we didn't pass the if, we go to else if. sometimes you can do the else, but you cannot write a statement after else. So that's usually what we do when we want to pass statement. And then if it didn't pass, go to another statement, else if. And A smaller than B. Print, I want to try this. Copy and paste. B is greater. And then let's just run this. All right, it gave us the right answer, but we want to make the function more wholesome. There's one more scenario that we didn't cover, is else. Because we know what it is, it's A equals B. So print numbers are the same. All right, that's if statement part of our demos. Let's go to the last one. So in the last one, it is a little bit harder. It's a combination of all three of the demos. And I also add another important package here for you to import and for you to learn. So this one is called pandas. Quite basic here. So if you haven't installed it in your iPad note, in your Jupyter notebook, please do. What you need to do is load time pip install pandas, and that's what you need to do. Because I already installed it, I don't have to do it. After you install it, you just import pandas as PD. It will give you the PD, and this is the abbreviation that we usually use, PD. Let's get started. So I'm going to let you know how to read CSV, how to basic ways to manipulate panda data frame, and also a for loop. So this time we read a CSV and we get hand tie lines. Remember another. So in list, in a data frame, in a string, you always index from 0. So you can see from 0 to 9 is tie lines. And this is the index it has. And these are online orders. It has date. It has the same time for now for the 10 lines. And also it has the different cities. One of them are New York. Categories, all kinds of amount and payment. So you can see it has potential for different ways of manipulation, right? So our goal for this lab, this demo, is to summarize all the cells in New York, and I will show you the running totals of each calculation. So let's get started. One of the methods to analyze data frame is to make them into list and list. Sometimes we make a column into a list. So category is a list of categories. In this time, I'm going to show you how to just make each line, each row into a list. So when you want to view the data, you just type it. You can see that this is the first line because this is value to list. So it can never pass the column name into consideration. So you can see each line. This is the list of lists, right? And the first list is the first line. And if you count the index in your mind, this is 0, this is 1 in the list, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is how it gets started, right? When you have the list of lists, you index first time, it will give you the line. And when you index the second time, it will give you the specific number or the object you want. And let's keep going. So before we do a loop, we assign a starting point. So the total is 0. And let's get started for the for loop. So we want to go through each line, and so we want the row to be in the order list. So it will go through the sequence. So the order list has different rows. It will go through row by row and pass the following statements. And just imagine it goes to the first row. The first row is this, right? And in this list, what we want is that we want to check if the third one, if it's New York. So if third one row equals New York. If it passed, we want to calculate price. Price equals to, and we remember this is index 2, so 3, 4. Row 4. And then we have the price ready, and we're going to calculate the running total. So we want total to add itself. And each time it'll add up the price. Let's see if it works. Otherwise, I'll debug in front of you. Let's see. Okay, I believe it works. Order list. Maybe I type it wrong. This is lists. So it works. So you can see each time it has order amount. Each time when it's New York, it shows order amount and also has a running total of what's the online orders in New York. All right. That's you can see the /m over here. So that's everything in level 1 Python programming. Especially the demo 4, I spent a lot of time into it. I want to introduce Python and all other important knowledges, techniques that you need to get used to and also master them. And they're different, of course, they're different approach. Of course, things like group by, value counts, all these things, you can try them out because they're data frame for you. You can try them out when you have time. So there are many ways, many approach to when you want to add a filter. And just try them out. You can see the payment, the categories. Just try the dataset out and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for your time. Enjoy our lab.